Hey, what's up, YouTube? Red and Bordy here. Today was a great day if you're a New World fan because we got a ton of news, a ton of updates in the April update or the April patch notes, and we're gonna look at them tonight, Bordy. But specifically, the changes to territory control in New World. So, Bordy, me and you have been talking about this for a long time because they've been teasing it, that they got big changes coming our way for the territory system, and here they are, dude. Here they are.
Yeah, so it's a pretty big change indeed, no doubt. I'm not going to say it's not without some concerns, but this is most definitely a step in the right direction. I'm incredibly excited to talk about this.
Yes, massive changes, and on this video, dude, we're gonna look at the lovely, the beautiful New World fans, freshly updated by none other than the ponytail wonder himself, Taken. He did deserve that, man. He did amazing. Hey, we're both bald. I mean, like, you know, what can we possibly say about his hair that could be insulting, you know? So, all right, dude, let's get in here. These changes are amazing, man. Because, like you said, they take us in the right direction. Let's go in here, Bordy. First and foremost, to incentivize PvP action and make the influence race more interesting, we've added the ability to fight over forts in a territory outside of war. So here we go, boys. Right off the bat, they're telling us they're instituting some open world PvP, some more open world PvP, Bordy. What do you think, man? Fort wars.
Yeah, it gets me very excited because this is something we've wanted for a very long time. Is the incentivization?
This is not a good day for you. I'm telling you how to speak English.
It's not a good day for me at all, man. Yeah. But this is something we've wanted for a really long time, and I'm excited that we're finally seeing some of this come to light in these patch notes because we've been waiting for this for a while, waiting for some PvP news. I know us, like a lot of other people, have been waiting patiently to get some news like this, and there's still some things I feel like they're gonna have to work out, but this is most definitely a step in the right direction. And these patch notes from start to finish were a lot of fun to read, and there's a lot of other good stuff in here too that we're going to go over in future videos, but this in particular is something that's near and dear to both of us, is open world PvP, and I am thrilled to death that they at least added some sort of open world PvP experience to the game, more so than what we had before, because it was really lacking.
Yes, and when you talk about that, Bordy, we think, what are they adding exactly through these territory or these fort wars that we're talking about? And here is the first bit of detail. Capture points have been placed in all territory forts. Players can capture these points by having more members of their faction inside of the point than other factions. So we think that it's going to be tied to numbers, or at least the capture points are. So forts that have been captured will remain captured until a different faction either claims the fort for themselves or wins the war for the territory. So here you go. You see them linking it into an already present PvP activity, which are the sieges. So that we know right now that the sieges, once you win a siege, you will also take control of the fort. So for a brief window, about an hour, you will own both just from winning the siege. But, Bordy, here's the big thing. You will be able to run to a fort, any fort on the map, and try to take it over. And that is sick, dude. I think it's a massive jump in the right direction.
Absolutely. So there's going to be PvP hotspots all the time, and there are great incentives to own the fort as well. So that's awesome. So I think one of the things I want to clarify here, because I was very confused about this too, and you and I had a discussion about this prior to the video, right after the patch notes, we were texting back and forth about this situation. And so the way I think this works, the way it reads, and Red is on the same page here, I was a little bit of a different impression at first, but now I agree more with you, Red, on this, that you can capture a fort that you don't own the territory in. And so, and it makes sense after we start reading through some of these other points here as to why that is, but you don't. So there can be a syndicate company that owns the fort and a marauder company that owns the actual territory. So it's not like once you take the fort, you take the whole territory. That's not how it works. That's reserved for wars. So if you win the war, then you take the territory. So the fort is completely different. Yeah.
Yes. So let's break down the requirements to participate in this open world PvP. First and foremost, and we kind of, this is probably goes without saying, you will need to be flagged. to enter the fort zone on the map. So if you're not flagged for PvP, you can't get in and just run around and set on the capture point. You have to be flagged, which is very important, I think, because what better way to contest the point than to kill your enemies? So you have to be flagged for PvP. Control points will be activated at 60 minutes after a war or a siege or invasion. So they stipulated that they will reset after an invasion as well. The control point is deactivated once a war or invasion is declared. So basically, there will be no activity inside of the fort once one of these wars or invasions are declared, and that's within an hour window. So controlling a fort provides 5% increase to experience gain and 20% increase to influence within that territory for faction members. Now, Bordy, we mentioned that they need to find a way to better incentivize open world PvP. And obviously, this is a massive jump in the right direction. But now they've also made PvP quests more viable, because now if you go and capture that fort before you start doing your influence quest, you're going to get a ton of increased experience gain.
Yeah, and this is the sentence right here that kind of clears up that misconception that I had earlier, is that you take the fort, and once you take the fort, then you get that 20% increase to influence. So you're going to want to go take the fort. If you're planning on trying to undermine a territory, this makes it to where you want to go fight for the fort first, own the fort, and then go do your PvP missions and control that fort as you're doing the PvP missions, so you can undermine that territory a lot faster, which I think is really, really good. I like it. I think that's really dope, man.
Yes, I agree 100%. Any way that you can kind of benefit an action inside of a game to influence players to want to participate. 20% increase influence if you're wanting to take over the government inside of a settlement is massive, dude. That is a lot of increased experience gain. And you look at influence gain, and then you look at the 5% increase to experience gain. Well, those start to stack up. If you gain the settlement, if you gain the fort, if we'll read on to the benefits of adding owning a fort throughout the map, because these are going to also provide players with global buffs. Dude, this starts to get very interesting, and it's going to be interesting to see which one of these forts are the big hot spots, because there are some pretty cool buffs here, dude. Yeah,
absolutely, man.
So let's start in here. And like we mentioned before, each fort has a unique global buff that is provided to the controlling faction. So again, it is faction related, these buffs are. So if your faction owns one of these forts, you're going to have a global buff. So First Light, and we're going to read through these territories. You guys, maybe if you didn't play the preview event, hop over to New World Fans. We have the map from the preview event. So a lot of these territories are the same, and we'll kind of mention the ones that have been added recently. But so First Light will reduce fast travel weight costs from 5 Azeroth per 10 weight down to 1 Azeroth per 10 weight. So, dude, you get a
Azeroth.
Oh, Azoth. My gosh. Okay. Whoops. That is the name of the planet in World of Warcraft. So, dude, Azoth, I mean, that is a massive decrease in cost. You're talking about what? I mean, technically, it is divided by 5. So that is a massive buff, 40.
Yeah, it is, man, for sure. And the fast travel can get you whenever you're using a lot of Azoth to travel back and forth. So that's a nice perk, I think, a nice global buff for sure.
So here we go. Monarch's Bluff reduced the fast travel distance cost by 5% Azoth per 100 meters, down to 1 Azoth per 100 meters for controlling for the controlling faction. Now here you go, Bordy. Right off the bat, you can see some synergy here. First Light and Monarch's Bluff. If you can capture those two forts first, then you're going to your entire faction is going to have reduced travel costs, so they can move around the map quicker and capture forts faster. It's kind of
absolutely, yep.
Cool systematic, thoughts or strategy thoughts within a faction. It's very cool of the first two buffs. So here we go. Windsword will increase the volume of items gained when gathering by 5% for controlling factions. Now, dude, that's a big buff for all of our gathering friends out there.
Yeah, it is. And I like that they added these in there because it's not just PvP based. If you're a gatherer or a crafter, potentially, you're going to want to own some of these forts for sure.
Yes, and it gives you a reason to support. Maybe you don't like to, participate in PvP. Maybe you're more of a peaceful person, but it does give you a reason to, promote, good commerce within your faction, because gearing your faction members up and helping them take these forts are going to provide a benefit to your business. Whether you're an armor crafter or maybe you just go out and gather crops to sell for chefs or stuff like that. You're going to want this Windsward buff for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. Next one, Everfall. Reduce trading taxes by 5% for the controlling faction. And real quick, Bordy, we can talk about too. Brightwood reduces housing taxes by 5% for controlling factions. Now, these taxes buffs aren't as significant because, again, I guess it just depends on the tax rate, but 5% of 5% is a small number. So I would assume that these two would probably be some that they'll probably have to adjust before launch to make more viable.
Yeah, I think the trading tax is even better than the housing tax, because the housing tax is just, I don't know, reduce housing taxes by 5% for controlling faction just doesn't, it seems quite underwhelming. So I would assume that they will, because why would you want to own that fort? That's not as desirable as almost anything else on this list.
Now, if it was a clean 5%, like if your taxes are 5% in the faction and it reduced your taxes to 0, that would be dope. Maybe that is the case, but from what I read, or what it seems to be, it's going to be 5% of the total taxes.
I think so.
So we'll see. Cutlass Keys reduces base Azoth costs from fast travel by 50% for controlling factions. That is insane.
That seems like a lot.
You stack that with those other two, and my gosh, you're traveling around the world for free.
Yeah, pretty much, which is incredible. So if you want to be fast traveling around, just own First Light, Monarch's Bluff, Cutlass Keys, own all those forts, and then travel around and take the other ones, And I think that'll be a strat that people use.
Yes, I do too. So let's real quick here tie these up. Weaver Fin increased coin, experience, territory standing, and faction token rewards by faction missions by 5%. That's pretty insane. Restless Shore increases coins, experience, and faction token reward from corrupted breaches by 5%. Also pretty crazy. Morningdale increases coin and experience rewards from expeditions by 5%. Evanscale reduces refining taxes by 5%. And Reekwater reduces crafting taxes by 5%. So again, a lot of different ways for the economy to be manipulated by these fort gains, which I think is good, dude. Like we said, tying crafting and gathering to some sort of activity outside of crafting and gathering is a good move by the team. So I'm glad they instituted that.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
All right, dude. So do we want to go over the real quick the goals that they presented for PvP and faction control system?
Yeah, but first I want to really talk about some of the potential problems with this situation first.
Sure.
So number one, I think Zergs are going to be an issue, right? I think that's got to be on the top of everyone's mind whenever you're talking about having numbers in the fort. Whenever the most numbers in the fort takes over the control point, which makes sense, right? If you have 2 people of one faction standing there, 2 people of the other faction standing there, neither person is going to tilt the scale one way or the other to control the point, right? So if you have 3 people and 2 people, then the faction with 3 is going to tilt it up, and you're going to start gaining control over the territory. I get that, but I think unless there's some sort of cap or something within the people that can go into the fort, you're going to have these huge 200-man battles in there and these huge Zergs that are just rolling around taking all of the forts. And I think that is a pretty big. The other concern I have is camps, dude. How are they going to prevent people from just plopping down camps right next to these forts and then just keep respawning back into the battle? I think that's a huge issue. It was an issue during the preview event a lot. We experienced that a bunch whenever we were PvPing. It was fun to respawn back if you died and then jump right back into the fight, but it also caused a lot of issues because we were killing. I always go back to that one huge fight we had there in Brightwood, and dude, we fought there for like 3 hours because they just kept respawning back. Yeah, everyone. If we died, we respawned back. We killed them a ton, and they just kept respawning back, and it was like just this incredibly fun fight. But at some point, it's like, man, this has got to stop. So I worry about that with this. I think those are my two biggest concerns with this situation is Zergs and the camps. And then also, we still don't have any idea how they're going to control the amount of people in a faction and how they're going to keep one faction from absolutely dominating the map like we've seen in the preview event on our server. Syndicate absolutely dominated everything. So it's going to be hard. There's some issues here that I see that they're going to have to address for this to actually work and work well and be a fun thing that players want to do. But hopefully we'll see more about that soon, and surely they'll get feedback from alpha and it'll change and adjust and they'll fix some things, I would hope.
Yeah, I think, we've mentioned this a lot. One of the things they can do to get around that is make those camps destroyable. From if you're flagged, your camp should be able to be destroyed by the other factions, which kind of creates some sort of added strategy to PvP. Either that, or maybe if you die from a player, you can't respawn at your camp. I think that's also something that they could easily do, which is make sure that you can only respawn at a territory or a settlement, excuse me, once you die from a player. So, but yeah, you're right. Those problems are going to exist. I think I could see them capping the population inside of a fort, because how can you let in the entire server into like a isolated area? I could see that causing a massive performance issues. Obviously, they have the 50v50 capped sieges, so we'll see if they cap like the amount of people that can actually enter a zone flagged. Because that is something that makes sense to me. Like you said, there's going to be a lot of advantage to be gained by numbers. Because if you just have more numbers, all you have to do is fight inside the circle, and you're probably going to cap the fort.
Yeah, and man, Zerg play is not that fun to me either, so I hope that they have some sort of solution for that, because I don't enjoy trying to go in there and like 5-man a fort or whatever. Maybe you need 10 or whatever it is, and then you have a group of 200 roll up on you and they just kill you just simply because they're just vastly outnumber you. That's not fun gameplay at all. Like, that's, nobody enjoys that. I don't even think the people that are in the Zerg enjoy that. You can't. It's boring. You running through there just stomping everyone simply because you have there's no skill involved. There's no entertainment value there. It's very boring. So they're gonna have to figure out a way to deal with Zergs, because Zergs will be a huge problem with this, and I hope that they have some solution up their sleeve for it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And like you said, it's just not fun gameplay, and I think open world PvP tends to lean itself towards Zergs most of the time. So hopefully they have a plan in place to maybe cap population or maybe prevent or encourage the Zerg play.
Yeah.
Bordy, it's why don't we separate these two videos? Well, the next video we do, or a video coming up, we can do the PvP goals and the faction control point system.
Yeah, sounds good. We probably already went over in this one anyway.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Dude, this is great. Great changes. Me and Bordy have been waiting for faction control changes. We're both PvP advocates, so these are great changes. I've enjoyed talking about them with you, Bordy, and we hope you guys enjoyed the video too. Don't forget to go check out New World Fans. We have all the patch notes up over there. If you're into New World, here's the place for you, dude. This YouTube channel. Hit the subscription button, the notification bell for more New World content like this. We'll be pumping out. Man, we have a whole new patch notes, Bordy. It seems like we didn't even get the chance to go over the last bit of patch notes, and we're already getting some new ones. So the team is working hard over there at New World. That's for sure. But again, guys,
lots of new stuff to cover.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next video.